Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod with Nate Zeleznick with us today. He's founder at Integrated, that is Ascension Method, IM. And we're going to talk about breathwork, biohacking, wellness, and everything in between, spirituality if we're lucky. This pod is brought to you by podpar.com. If you want to start and monetize the podcast the unconventional way through cold outreach methods, you can go to podpar.com. Nate, glad to have you on. Tell me a bit more about yourself and about what you've been up to nowadays.
Well, Charles, thank you so much for having me, and hello to everyone out there listening. So, yes, as Charles mentioned, my name is Nate Zeleznick, and I'm the founder of the Integrated Ascension Method, which formerly was the White Dove Method. And a lot of people are more familiar with the companies that I've started, Vibravision and also the MPUSA Martial Arts School in Utah. So, for 24 years, I, along with one of my younger brothers, owned one of the largest martial arts and meditation academies in Utah, here in the United States. And then the pandemic came along and forced us to change everything. And so recently, he and I, about a year ago, decided to split our ways in business so that he's doing one aspect of this art that we brought here. And I'm doing a lot of what he's doing, but also so much more with modern technology and biohacking, stem cells, all kinds of great things that we just didn't have available to us even a decade ago or even 5 years ago. And so now what I'm doing is taking this traditional, ancient, royal martial art that's also a system of meditation, energy work, breath work, energy healing, and also extrasensory abilities. So tapping into other senses that we don't normally use, but we all have in a reliable, methodical way. So that is the art that I brought to America back in 1999. But now I have so much more that goes into it.
How did you first get in touch with that martial art of yours and explain the broad lines of it?
Sure. You know, I grew up in a very small town here in Utah, which, for people that are familiar with Utah in the United States, it's very unique in that there is a predominant religion that pretty much controls everything in the state. And I grew up in a small place where I was the only kid that was not of this religion. So I had a lot of physical and mental and emotional bullying all the way from age 5 every day at school until like age 15, until I could go to a bigger high school. And so around the age of 12, I started having spontaneous out of body experiences. So it's like my soul was telling me, it's okay. There's more to life than what you're experiencing right now. Stay here. We got you. And that's really where my journey on spirituality started and on understanding more of the non-local function of consciousness, that we're not housed in our body. We're just simply, well, not simply, we're energy that has a body to have experience, but we could also go beyond the body because we're all much more than that. So at 12, I started having these experiences. At 16, I started martial arts training and really going into meditation and out of body techniques. But at age 23, I had what I like to call my soul calling, where I'd always involved, I'd loved martial arts. I'd loved Star Wars. I loved Bruce Lee. I mean, this is something that my whole life I wanted to do, is be a ninja and a Jedi both. Obviously, that's going to happen in a small town in Utah. I don't think so. But I got a Black Belt magazine ad. You know, I loved Black Belt magazine. So I got this ad and it guaranteed me inner power in 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, sold. So I ordered this course. It came with a little manual that did nothing, but it did have a VHS tape that showed Indonesian martial arts. And it was an Indonesian documentary where I only understood 2 words, Marpati Putih. Now, Marpati Putih sounds strange, but in Indonesian, that means white dove. And so it's the white dove system of meditation, breath work, energy work, internal power generation for doing superhuman things, perceiving beyond our 5 senses, and healing. And so I saw this and I saw blind and blindfolded people who were able to fight full contact, bare knuckles. They were able to drive cars through traffic, or it had military people who were shooting targets blindfolded. And I thought, no way, that can't be real. But something inside said, pay attention. You've never seen anything like this before. You've had all these out of body experiences and things you can't explain. So maybe Jedis are really real. That'd be pretty cool. And so the next day, I saw a blind woman almost get killed in front of me. She was trying to cross the street, and her dog led her face first into the light pole right in front of my car. And it dawned on me right then, I wonder if those Indonesian people can help her. And so I made it a mission. I mean, I didn't make anything. It became a mission for me to find the people on that videotape to see if they could help this blind lady. I'd never met a blind person, but something was just telling me, my soul was saying, you have to do this. And so it took about 2 weeks, and I finally tracked them down and found them. And I sponsored the very first demonstration of Marati PTI in the United States in 1999. And they had never trained a non-Indonesian person. It was forbidden up until this point. No non-Indonesian person had ever been allowed to learn it and go through the ranks. Even though it's a huge martial art over there, and every branch of the military uses it. The breath work is so unlike any other kind in the world that it creates results very quickly. The Indonesian military has been using it for every branch for the past 40 years. So they showed me just a couple of the breathwork techniques, and I was like, whoa, this is before Wim Hof was even known. It was like, this is way before breathwork or anybody knew about it or really did it. And it just grabbed me right by every part of my being and said, this is going to be hard. And so I started the training just a little bit. But then when this team was going to go home, they looked at me and they said, hey, this guy that you met earlier, this Indonesian guy that was at the airport when they got there, hey, he's going to be your trainer. And I was like, wait a minute, what? I don't, I don't know. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to help you. And they're like, yeah, how are you going to help us if you don't know what we do? Not really. And so I became the very first person allowed to train in America. And about 3 weeks later, one of my younger brothers joined me. And for 20 years, we trained side by side, tested side by side in Indonesia, as well as here in Utah. We've taught thousands of people. And recently we decided to go our separate ways in business to help people different parts of the human population that want something different. So I focus a lot on healing. I do some of the blindfolded vision, but vitality, like I said, energy healing of ourselves and other people, being able to unlock whatever abilities it is that you might have, because this method does that. You just have to get out of your own way in your mind and be open to what your talent actually is. And I could tell you, there are some things that are just a force multiplier for whatever you do. This is one of those. It changes everything.
And what's the science behind seeing if you're not seeing? How do you have someone see colors blindfolded and seeing without their eyes? Is it echolocation? Like, how does that work?
No, I do know some very good echolocators, but they can't tell color. And also they cannot tell where things are like on the ground. So, because the sound bounces down and bounces away from them, so they have a very difficult time with anything that is below waist level or so. So, no, in a way, I guess it's echolocation, but it's not echolocation for sound. It's echolocation of the vibrations of all matter. Everything's energy, right? We understand that with quantum physics, that everything's frequency and vibration and energy. Well, the thing is if I look at you and I can see that you're wearing a black tank top, the reason it's black is because it absorbs all light. If it were blue, that would absorb all light except for blue and reflect that, right? If we're in a dark room, you're not wearing a black tank top because I can't see it, right? There's no light source that will let me see that. But here's the thing with seeing with your mind, the thing about this, like I said, consciousness is non-local. We know, neuroscience knows it's not housed in our body. We don't know what consciousness is, but we also do know, I mean, think about it this way. The United States government spent billions of dollars teaching people how to remote view and spy on the Soviets and see where their missiles were. Because your mind and your consciousness is everywhere in the universe at one time. It's just we're slowed down into these really sticky avatar meat suits where we get to perceive from this perspective. But once we go beyond the physical, we find that we actually see with our mind, not with our eyes. Now, it took us about 15 years in our business, but we were finally able to prove to medicine, to science, to people who are optometrists, people who are blind, quantum physics. We proved that these abilities are real. Now, can everyone do it? Unfortunately, no. I wish I could say, yes, everybody can do this. No, it's not. No, it's not true. It's just like myself. If you asked me to ever be able to do advanced quantum physics, not going to happen. That's not my talent. Math doesn't make as much sense to me as, say, music or science. So I have my own talents. Some people are going to be like Usain Bolt and run fast. Other people will be like Michael Phelps and swim fast. Other people are like Stephen Hawking and they can't do anything fast, but their mind is amazingly brilliant. So the thing is like I said, sometimes people get hung up on the, ooh, I'd like to do that because it would be cool. That's not enough reason to develop a skill like that. It's just not to want to go to Monte Carlo and clean up on the blackjack tables. If you're blind, something like that is a total change of the way of life. But for most people, developing that specific skill requires so much time. And in this busy world, and I'm talking 2 to 3 hours a day of practice to develop that for a lot of people, it's just too much. Unless you're a kid, in which case it seems like with kids, they just do it. It's not a problem. It's very interesting. Once we become adults, it seems like things become more difficult on that realm, in that realm. But the thing is, it's not so much about what you do. It's all about who you're being. And as long as we're more connected, peaceful, compassionate, joyful, empathetic, we're contributing to society. We're doing something that's not just good for us. We're doing something that's good for all of us because we are actually at the highest level, all one. So we get the opportunity to do that more and more through this practice rather than just developing skills that would be like an X-Men. Although that's a cool thing too.
Right. And you're also a biohacker. So what is your daily routine to stay fit, stay healthy, stay productive and happy?
Yeah, definitely. Great call. So the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is start off with gratitude, because it's been shown that if we're in a state of gratitude for even a few minutes, it improves our immune system function for up to 24 hours. But if we're in a state of anger for even 5 minutes, it depresses our immune system for up to 6 hours. So the science on this is pretty amazing. So right off the bat, I start off with gratitude because holy cow, I get another day. Yes, I get another one. Every day, 150,000 people die on this planet. About half of them didn't even know it was coming. They thought they were going to have many more days. So everyone that I get is a blessing. So I start off that way. Then I continue on with some breath work. And I just actually released a free breath work. It's a DMT breathing with 5.5 minutes of the perfect breath pattern. I just released that on YouTube for free. So people can go to my YouTube channel at Integrated Ascension Method and get it for free right now. And so I start off with that. So I'm going to hyper oxygenate my system and then go into the perfect breath rhythm, which science has shown it raises our carbon dioxide and keeps our oxygen high. And it puts us into parasympathetic dominance. So rest and digest, or the feed and breed. I also heard it called that one, that state. And so then I'm going to go and I'm going to start some meditation. Now, what I use, and this is something that I can actually, is this, Charles, is this going on video or only audio?
Quote.
Okay, fantastic. So right here, I just have to reach over and grab this. I wasn't going to pull this out, but I guess I will. I have something that is called the Sensei headset. So SENS.ai, and you can actually get that with a discount on my website. But what this is this is a home brain training gym, essentially. It has EEG electrodes. It has biofeedback. It has photobiomodulation for putting light into the skull. And then it also has HRV. It has, so it'll tell you your level of coherence, your brainwave states, and it's a complete brain training system. So I do that every single day for at least half hour to 60 minutes. Then I'm going to go into my workouts. So my workouts include the hardstyle breath holding, the unique breath work of the White Dove method. And then I'll go into my deep meditation. After the brain training, I do my hard breath work. Then I do my meditation. And that's anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, the very specific White Dove method and integrated Ascension Method meditations. After that, I'm going to work out. And so I love the elastic band workouts along with BFR, so blood flow restriction bands, which just jack your growth hormone higher than any kind of exercise can. And you only use half the weight, only takes half the time, and you get 10 times the burn. And also it aids in muscle recovery. So that's an everyday thing for all of my band workouts. And then I'll stretch. I'll do hyperbolic stretching, which is tension, relaxation, and stretch further, tension, relaxation, and stretch farther. Finally, I'm going to jump in the shower. And so when I jump in the shower, obviously clean, but then I like to do the alternating hot and cold shower. So here in Utah right now, it is very cold. It is like 15 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And so when I turned on the water, the cold water this morning, it was really cold. And I got my thermometer out, it was 37 degrees. That's really cold, especially when it's moving water. And so by releasing the cold shock proteins and stimulating lipolysis, the burning of fat, and also the improvement in immunity and digestion, all the things that come along with the cold. But when you alternate between hot and cold, I've been doing this for years, way before Wim Hof was even known. This is back in my college days. The Soviets and the Bulgarians would do this for muscle recovery. So they would go 1 minute of hot, as hot as you can stand, and then 1 minute of cold as you can stand. Then 1 minute of hot, 1 minute of cold, and on the cold, get out. And so that does some amazing things with taking and filling all the blood vessels out to the surface with the hot, because we're trying to shed heat, right? And then we suck it back in with the cold. And we start getting this working on the cold shock proteins in the body and all the things that come with that. Then I go hot again and then cold and then out. And I have to say, Charles, I work out hard. I mean, I go. And it has been maybe I'd say a year and a half since I had any kind of soreness at all after any kind of workout when I do the hot, cold, and out. So that's my normal morning. It's usually about 2.5 to 3 hours. I mean, I figure there's nothing else. Why even do the rest of my day if I'm going to be sick or unhealthy?
Right. And you do retreats. What do your retreats look like in terms of biohacking, what you work on with people?
Yeah. Well, that really depends on what I'm doing, okay, and who I'm with. So I will, if I'm with a corporate, let's say a C-suite of a large corporation, what they need and what they want is going to be different than if I'm with a bunch of people who are spiritual biohackers or they're breath workers. What they're going to want is maybe something different. So, Charles, I cater to the groups that I'm doing, that I'm teaching, because the Marati PTI, the White Dove system, is so comprehensive. It's literally like I would compare it with most meditation systems are like this little booklet right here. And Marapati Putti is like the space station manual. It is so huge that I have the ability to really fine tune what the people want. So it's going to be biohacking, not so much like cold showers. We're not doing that together. Although I do some cold water training. Yes, it depends on the group. But the breath work, the hard style breath work from the White Dove method is where we always start. That's the core of what we do. I also have everybody who comes through my workshops gets one of these life source fusion pendants. So that's also on my website, and you get a 20% off if you get it from my website. But what this does, and it's immediate, you can see it there too. It immediately blocks you from EMF and it grounds you into the earth and makes you very, very stable to the point where I prove this with people. I just have them hold on to the uh, life source fusion pendant, and I try to pull them over. Like try to pull them over, can't be moved. Put it down, bang, they fall right over. You grab it again, can't be moved. It immediately locks you into the or like the you don't weigh more, but you're a whole lot more stable. and it's immediate. It works on everybody who's got a body. And so everybody who comes through gets one of these as well. So this helps to balance our energetic field in a way that you can actually feel. And then we'll also go through a lot of meditations. And when it comes to meditations, mainly for healing is what I focus on. But when it comes to stress relief, over 90% of all disease is caused by stress, according to the CDC. 90%. So if we can make ourselves sick through our thoughts, we can also make ourselves well and keep ourselves healthy. And so helping people be able to do that, where I've had numerous people claim and just overwhelming change in their body, whether it's from fibromyalgia, allergies, lung COVID, many types of cancer. People claim that all they've changed is just doing this breath work and had amazing results and reversals. So I don't make any medical claims because that's not responsible, because yeah, you can't, it won't work for everybody in every single situation. But the amount of people who have experienced what I can call miracles is unbelievable. And so breath work is where we start, but then we also go into organic food, making sure that we're giving our body the right type of chemicals that aren't poisoning us while we're trying to expel our toxins. And since a lot of people don't know this, but if you've ever done a cleanse, let's say you do a juice cleanse or something like this, did you know that 70% of all the toxins in our body are released out our breath? It's not through foot pads and minerals or fasting, and no, it's through proper breathing. So if we're not breathing properly, we're storing toxins that no cleanse is going to get rid of. And so that's a really important thing as well. And then when we get to the energy healing, I don't know a single person that likes to be injured or sick. Not one. And so if we can shorten the duration that we're injured or sick, that's invaluable for people.
Yeah, very underrated, as well as founders and entrepreneurs, like especially during holidays, lots of sick people because we meet families and loved ones, and I don't know, the body's not used to chilling, and comes the anxiety of coming back to work for many. So people get sick, and when you get sick, you don't generate money. So it's a no-brainer. My last question for you is, what would be your objectives for next year? You've meditated on that. Like, where do you want to focus your time and energy next year?
Yeah, I love that question. So with, this last year was a big roller coaster for me with relationships and just having life, just this whole human experience. There were great parts, there were really tragic parts. But one thing that I did is I rebranded. So in 2023, it was the White Dove Method. But now that I've added so many things to it, it can't be the White Dove Method anymore. It can't just be that. So now it's the integrated Ascension Method. So I've only been in the rebranding process since about November of 2023. So it's only a couple months at this point. And so for me, most important is to establish my brand as more of a household name. So a lot more advertising on social media platforms through email, SEO, things to make it much more recognizable. Second thing for this upcoming year is to hold at least 5 different workshops. Now, my primary thing that I do is elite executive training one-on-one. So I bring all this different technology from pyramid tachyon energy, biowell energy diagnostics, emotion code and body code, which I'm certified practitioner of that. I bring all these different things to my elite clients or my professional athletes. So that's a different price point. And that's a different time commitment that it would be for say a group, or for my online courses, which some of them are available for free on my website. So getting this to the point where I am serving a minimum of 10,000 people this year is what I want to do.
Quite ambitious. I'm raising my desk at the same time talking to you. It's time to stand,
Yes.
biohackers.
Yeah.
Where can people find out more about you, Nate?
Well, I was pretty lucky in the fact that I got one of the coolest website names I've seen for energy workers. It's called iam.pure.energy. So if I was a, electrician, that might still work. If I was a plumber, not so much. But as a biohacker and internal energy master trainer, iam.pure.energy, that fits pretty well. And so people can go and get my free ebook. They can get my free course on energy shielding and the perfect breathwork pattern. They can also go to YouTube and they can go to Integrated Ascension Method in my channel, get that free new breathwork pattern and save it. Ring that bell, subscribe to me because I've got new content coming out every single day. And so that's the easiest thing. My website, and then also on YouTube. And then, of course, you can find me on every social media platform.